Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Before we begin today's video, I would like to go over what we did last time, that being data types and variables. So let's go ahead and create some data types and variables. So let's give it the data type of the string hello. Let's create another data type variable and let's call it B and assign it 15. Let's go ahead and create one last variable with a data type of float and give it 69, 69. And let's go ahead and print out the following. And because I am lazy to type, I'm just going to copy paste these. So this will end up being C, and this will end up being B. Let's go ahead and run file, which you can go by going to run file explicitly and going run module, or just by using F5. Source must be saved, always save, and boom, we get back hello 15, 69, 69. So now let's begin today's topics. The first thing we shall do today is find out how to get user input. What do I mean by user input? How do we write a line or lines of code that prompts someone else apart from us, so the user, to enter code? Well, in Python it's really simple. All we have to do is use the input function, which is input open and close brackets. Now let's just try this without assigning to a variable. So let's go print input open and close brackets, and let's run module, and I can type something. Okay, great. So we know that input's working, but let's be a little more explicit. Instead of every time calling input within the print statement, let us rather create a variable. Let's say name is equal to input open and close brackets, and let's print out name, and let's run file. So something to save, and now we have space to enter input. Let's just enter name, enter my own name, Ash, and boom, Ash gets returned. So the input statement input allows for user input. If we leave the brackets empty, as you've seen, there will be nothing prompted. But if we want to, we can actually, within brackets, we can actually leave a message for the user. So create a string using single or double quotes and enter whatever you want the user to see. So enter your name, and let's create a little space. You could also say anything. Actually, you can say enter your age, enter your date of birth, whatever. But because we're working with name, let's just go enter your name. And now let's print out name. Let's go with run module, save of course, and boom, we have the string that pops up, enter your name. And let's go again, Ash, boom, and that is how we get basic user input in Python. Now let's try to get a little more fun with this and create a better program. So print name, enter your name. Let's go ahead and say print hi what is your name, and name equals input, enter name, and let's print out oh nice to meet you, and let's add name to the statement. How do we do that? Well, all we do is add a comma and add the variable name. If you name this variable something else, as let's say A or X, once you go over here you would add that variable, but because my variable is named under name, I shall keep it as name. And try keeping variable names as explicit as possible so as not to confuse yourself or others. So let's go ahead and run this. Hi, what is your name? Let's enter name one last time, Ash. And look, we get returned back oh nice to meet you, plus the variable name, which was Ash, which was input, returned back oh nice to meet you, Ash. So that is how we get user input in Python. Now I am going to comment all of these out, so should you, but make sure you code along with me. And if for practice you want to go back and do your own input examples, by all means feel free to do so, but pause the video. So now, when we're using the input statement, if we use input just the regular way it is, such as input with the empty brackets, whatever goes within brackets can be converted to a string. But if we want to use the data type of integer, boolean, or float, we have to explicitly call it. How do we do this? We type int for integer before input, and we just surround the input statement with brackets. And now we can be allowed to add numbers in our input statement. Well, what if we want to use booleans? So all we would do is type bool and bool, and whatever goes within these brackets have to now be the dare type boolean, which can only be true or false. How about float? Well, all we have to do is type in float before input. Open and close brackets within the brackets input statement. Now let's remove all of this. Let's talk about the next thing. Operations in Python. Operations. So let's go and print out some basic maths. 5 plus 5, and because I am lazy to type, copy Ctrl V, and Ctrl V. Let's go and minus. Let's go and multiplication. Let's go and division. So the plus sign is obviously for addition, the minus sign or the dash is obviously for subtraction, this little star sign is used for multiplication in Python, and this little sign, I'm not sure why, is the kind of diagonal line is used for division. Let's go ahead and run this. Run module, yes. We get back 5 plus 5, 10. 5 minus 5, 0. 5 multiplied by 5 being 25, and 5 divided by 5 being 1.0. Whenever you're doing division, it will, even if the answer has no remainder, instead of returning an integer 1, it will return a float 1.0. Now, there are other types of basic operations in Python. One being the integer division. So integer division. So basic division, we would say 52 divided by 10 is equal to 5.2. But now what happens if I rather use the integer division? And if I say 52, to get into division you use 2 diagonal lines divided by 10. So integer division, you use 2 diagonal lines. And what happens? Let's go ahead and comment this out. Run module. And look, we get 10, 0, 25, 1. And now we get 5. Well, why do we get 5 when the answer is 5.2? Well, when you do integer division, the remainder is not counted. So anything which is decimal point or after is not counted, just the whole number. So in our case, 5. So I hope you guys understand that. If you want to do another example, let's go with 67. Instead of getting 66.7, sorry, we will rather just get 6. Watch. And boom, we get 6 returned. Why is this? Because modulus, because integer division does not consider the remainder. Now, let's do modulus remainder. Modulus remainder. To use modulus remainder, you use the percent sign. Now watch. Let me go 62. No. Let's go with 10 modulus 3. So print 10 modulus 3, and let's see what happens. Let's run file. We get back 1. Why is that we get back 1? I know that 10 divided by 3. Let's see, how many times can 3 go into 10? Well, 3 can go into 10 3 times. 3, 6, 9. What will be left? Remainder. And that's it. Modulus remainder returns back the remainder of the function. I'm losing my words here, guys. So 10 divided by 3 is 9, but because of the remainder 1, modulus remainder returns back the remainder, that being 1. So let's go ahead and do one more last example. This one's really easy. Exponents. How do you use exponents in Python? All you have to do is 2 multiplication signs. Let's go ahead and print out 10 exponent 10, and let's see what happens. And boom, there's a number here. What is it? 10 million, 100 million, 10 million, 100,000, who knows? I'm too lazy to count. So now that we have all of this here, I am going to remove this, or at least comment it out. Should you want to keep it there, it's completely fine, but I will not be doing that because it will get in the way of the code that I will be writing. But if you want to do it, by all means do that, and if you want to do more examples, again, feel free to do so. So let's go ahead and comment this out, and let's talk about how can we use input and operation. So let's combine input and operations. So there are many ways to do this. Let me give you a basic example. Let's create a variable called num1 and assign it the integer value of 10. Let's create a value num2 and let's assign it the value of int input. So now whatever number goes in brackets will become a number. So let's go with enter a number. Let's be more explicit because it's an integer. Enter a whole number. This is to avoid user error. If the person thinks any number, they can go with 1.0, 6.5, and the function will not work as this is an integer, not a float. And now let's print out num1 plus num2. Let's do some other stuff. Let's go Ctrl C, Ctrl V, Ctrl V. Let's go minus num2, and let's go with multiplication num2. Let's run our file, run module, source as we saved, of course. Let's go enter a whole number down here. I'm actually going to stop my program. If you want to stop your program, you just hit Ctrl C. The reason I want to do is I want to create a little more space. So again, if you want to stop your program, all you have to do is hit Ctrl C, which is Control C. Now we have a little more space. Let's go create a little more space. Okay, that's great. And let's go again and run our module again. Enter a whole number. Let me enter, let's think, 15. And boom, we get 15 plus num1. What was num1? I believe num1 was 10, so 15 plus 10 is 25. 10 minus 15 is negative 5, and 10 multiplied by 15 is 150. That is how you can combine operations and user input in Python. Let's do another one. Let's copy this entire thing, Ctrl C. Let's bring it down here. Instead, let's go with let's remove integer, and let's see what happens when someone enters a whole number. And let's run F5. So enter a whole number. Let's go with 15 again, and we get back 25, negative 5, 150. And again, enter a whole number. Now what happens? I'll enter 15 again, and boom, we get back this error. Don't really worry about everything above this line. Just worry about what type of error it is. In our case, it's a type error. Unsupported operand type S for plus, integer, and string. All this is telling you is how can you add a string, which is a sequence of characters, to a number that being integer. And why is it saying that? It's saying that because, as I told you before, if we leave the input statement as it is, what will happen is whatever goes in brackets will be converted to a string. If you want to explicitly call an integer or something else or different data type, we have to explicitly call it before the input statement. So just add int and surround your input with brackets, and boom, and it would work. So guys, that's all for this video. I hope you learned something. I shall see you tomorrow with the next video in this series. Bye guys.